Today I am reviewing one of my favorite piece of gear, my one-person tent from Hilleberg, the Enan. But instead of just jumping into the review, I did some research on most frequently asked questions on this tent. So the review is going to be more like a Q&A kind of review. But before we start, here's some basic facts. Enan is a one-person, three-season tent. It weighs 1200 grams, everything included. It's made out of Curlon 1000 fabric, and it pitches with the minimum of 6 pegs, but you get 8 when you buy it. The arc has a 9mm pole, and it comes in 3 different colors: red, green and sand. And no, you don't need to seam seal it, it comes ready to use directly from Hilleberg. Question number 1. How long does it take to pitch Enan? Well, it takes 4 to 5 minutes, depending on the conditions like wind, rain or ground. But you also have 2 more options except just to pitch the tent. You can leave the storm flaps open or closed depending on the weather. And you can also, if you pack the tent the same way every time, choose which side the door is going to be, facing a lake or maybe away from the wind. Okay, good tip. Thank you. Question number 2. How tall can you be to use Enan comfortably? Well, I am 180 centimeters long and fit perfectly inside the tent. The inner tent is 215 centimeters long, but I think if you're over 190, I think you're going to feel the tent being a little bit too small. Also, sitting up in the tent is perfectly fine. It is 93 centimeters to the top of the inner tent, so changing clothes inside, for example, is perfectly okay. On to question number 3. Is there also room for a backpack and or a dog inside the tent? Well, as you can see, I have my ULA circuit inside the vestibule with room to spare. And inside, beside the sleeping pad, there is room for a smaller dog. Medium size and up, I think it's going to be a little bit too tight. Question number 4. Can you cook inside the tent with the door closed? Well, like you can see, cooking inside the tent is not a problem. Plenty of room for cooking and your gear. Now on to question number 5. Is there a place to hang a lantern or wet socks inside the tent? Absolutely. Inside you have 3 loops that you can attach a guy line to, and there you can hang your wet socks or your lantern. A t-shirt though, I think it's too big. Okay, thank you. Time for the last question for this Q&A. Question number 6. What about condensation? Yeah, that is a question a lot of people ask, and to be fair, condensation is a problem on all small tents, but there are some things you can do to make the situation a little bit better. First of all, you can leave the storm flaps open all the time, except it's going to be a real storm. The second thing you can do is to leave the door open until it's time to go to sleep. And the third thing you can do is unzip the zipper a little bit from the top and down when you're sleeping, so the air can escape that way, unless it's raining, of course. Okay. And here are 3 things that are not so good about Enan. To prevent condensation, I would like a cover over the top part of the zipper so it can remain open also during the rain. Storm flaps are really difficult to open or close when the tent is pitched, when you have to do it from the inside. 93 centimeters inside is okay, but I wish it could be just a few centimeters more. 100 maybe would be perfect. But there are also some things that I love about Enan, like the fact that the outer tent goes all the way down to the ground. That prevents mosquitoes and other flying insects to enter the tent, so you can leave the inner tent door open while cooking, while changing and stuff like that, and create a lot more living space. I like also that Enan has a really small footprint. It makes it easy to find a good spot to pitch the tent. I love also the amount of space you have inside the Enan. It creates really good comfort for one person. And last but not least, Enan is a very well built tent and will probably last for a lifetime if taken care of properly. That's it for today's Q&A and review of Hilleberg Enan. Is it a good tent? Absolutely. It's a bomb-proof tent for all adventures, in the forest, up on the mountains. And me, I just love Enan, and I see no reason to look for another one-person tent in the near future. If you want more info, I will link to Hilleberg down below in the description. And if you have further questions, post them in the comments and I will try to answer them as quick as I can. And also, don't forget to subscribe if you like the channel. And see you next week. Bye bye.